thanks to all of you for all showing up at once, and then that way I don't have my cell phone ringing off the hook the rest of the day. You know, Tracy and I, my wife, we were expecting to come here today and say our goodbyes and pack up my office and sail off into the sunset. That hasn't quite worked out, as you know. Leaving now in the midst of what's going on with our the leadership race, and apparently some, at least from the lobbyist side, some interference with that race. And we'll see how those panels work their way through. But I don't think it's a time for the captain to jump ship. And particularly got the word today on potentially some $600 million budget deficit for the rest of this year. So with the issue of uncertainty in our leadership and the budget deficit facing us, I consulted with a couple other members of our leadership, our House Whip and caucus chair, and I'm going to be staying around for a while until we can get through this. Now, I don't want to do a statement every day, hey, are you leaving today, are you leaving today? My intent is to stay and see this thing through for as long as I'm needed. And, you know, I had planned to leave. I have a business to run also, as many folks do. But others make greater sacrifices than I am. We have our armed forces of police, firemen. They make far greater sacrifices than me staying around here a little while longer while we work our way through this. And I'm happy to take any questions about anything. Whatever you like. I can't guarantee I can answer them all, but I'm happy to talk later.
Who do you think Governor Ritter should pick for the U.S. Senate?
Andrew Romanoff.
Do you really say that?
Yes.
Why?
You know, I don't want to jinx it. But, you know, I know Andrew the best. He and I have served together here for 6 years. I think Andrew Romanoff will do an outstanding job for 2 years until one of our folks runs against him and then beats him. But I think he'll do a great job for Colorado for 2 years.
Representative May,
yes.
I know there's not much that you can say about this investigation, but can you talk about, in your mind, who or how they attempted to influence this upcoming election?
You know, much of that will be public shortly. There's a release process that's going to happen, as I understand it. The actual complaints will be released, the details of that. There's some notification that has to go on. But this isn't, at this point, this isn't a secret process. It is a public process. And the citizens of Colorado have a right to know what happened and what didn't. And there'll be panels. Those of you around here, well, we've had a few of these panels before. It'll all be public. I'm not certain exactly when they'll release it. That's in the hands of our legal staff downstairs. But I know there's some notification that has to go through. And also, in one of the documents, there's some names of some private citizens in there that I know need to be redacted from it. So that they just need to do a little bit, and as soon as they can get it out, I know they're going to release the documents, so you'll all have them.
Mike, what's the timetable? Because generally you guys like to hang people to committees to do the investigation. You've got people on vacation, you're not even in session.
Correct.
Are you looking at naming both of these committees before the session starts?
They will be named before the session starts. How much work they get done between now and then,
So that's both
who knows?
the lobbyist one and the legislative one.
Correct. They'll both, and of course there'll be people that are going to continue into the next session.
What do you think about the actual situation of the state?
You talking about the budget?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that came out today. Also, it's been a long week. That came out today also, and the numbers from the Ledge Council are just daunting. I mean, I hate to say I've been through this before, but when I arrived here as a freshman in 2003, we were facing similar circumstance. It's unfortunate that let me preface this, we can't spend our time finger pointing. We got a lot of work to do on this budget. But it's unfortunate that our governor didn't heed the call last spring when, in fact, there was a deal in the Senate between the Republicans and Democrats. Let's save a little bit of money. Let's not put this thing on autopilot and try to spend everything. And he said no. Now, did he know, or we know, or we all psychic that the problem was going to be this big? No, we didn't. But we did know there was a slowdown in the economy. And to not show some caution, I think, was irresponsible. That being said, it's time to move forward, and it's the other reason why, in fact, this decision wasn't made until by around noon, that I would say. It's not a time for our caucus to be divided, for our caucus to try to sort through some leadership election that might be difficult, particularly with this. It's time for us to unite and with the Democrats, and let's solve this budget crisis as best we can. And it's gonna be tough.
Is this worse than 03?
It's the initial number looks bigger. You know, we just got it today. It looks worse. I mean, if the alleged council's numbers are correct, 600 million over the next 6 months, that number is just enormous. Plus, we're sitting on the potential Supreme Court decision, and we don't know, over the property tax, we don't know what that will be. So the financial obstacles facing this state are gigantic.
What
Which
number
number
is
do you trust? The governor's number was 80 million, and now you're looking at 600 million. That's a big disparity. How can it
It's
be
big.
that far off?
That number's, the 80 million number's been floating around for a while, and we met with some of the first floor folks back in September, October, and I didn't believe it then. As we said, we've watched this, those who've been here, watched this happen before. As the economy spirals down, that number gets bigger, not smaller, and it certainly doesn't stay the same. But our state is facing some difficult challenges, as many businesses are, and I would guess it's probably closer to that 600 million number than the 80 number, but somewhere, whichever it is, it's a huge number. I would hope it'd be as close as we can get to the 80 million, but it may get worse before it's over. Who knows what the next cycle will be. Now, I'm hopeful for our economy, but we have to be prudent and plan for the worst and hope